Well, good evening and welcome to another episode of Co-Creating the New Earth Together after our summer recess. Very excited tonight to have Karen Binks, my very good friend Karen Binks, who's been on the show before. And I've got somebody else to admit here. Diane's just coming in. Hello, Diane. Oh, Dion, sorry, Dion.
Dion, yeah.
Lovely to have you here, Karen. Thank you very much for agreeing to come on with us.
Thanks for having me back, Jack.
Karen is an ace shadow worker, but tonight she's going to be talking about intimacy and her special take on intimacy, which is Into Me I See.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with that idea, Karen?
So intimacy was something that I honestly thought came from somebody else, Jack, years and years ago. You know, that you met somebody, hi Dion, you met somebody and you became intimate with them. Do you know what I mean? As a sexual way or in a relationship way.
That's the way most people think of it, yeah.
Yeah, but as I was working 15 years ago on myself, intimacy, so this is how it came up, right? I got a cold sore and I have one today, imagine. And I was talking to a friend and she said, when you get a cold sore, it means that you don't want to be intimate with people because nobody will go near it, right?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, that's an interesting concept, because the truth is when you have a cold sore, it's really sore and you don't want anyone near you. And it obviously means that you're run down as well. So I thought that was an interesting concept. And when I was working on myself, which I was working with a monk, which you know my story, to cut a long story short, my deepest insights came from sitting with a monk, reading quotes from the Bible, and actually interacting them into my sittings and seeing what I came up with. So I was sort of playing with words, verses, sitting and seeing what opened up. And then the day intimacy was given to me, that word, I sat with it 15 years ago, and the word came, into me I see. So with being dyslexic, I play with words because they move and I can break them up. So like concept, a con that you accept, see? So intimacy was into me I see. And when I sat with that, it allowed me to open up. And that's how my journey started opening for me. So before that, I thought intimacy was when you were in a relationship with somebody, which it can mean that. But the deeper the insight of sitting in it, it opened loads of catalysts inside me that, you know, I was trying to fulfill outside of me, but I hadn't built a relationship with myself. So intimacy, into me I see.
So another way of putting that be to say that the people we're in relationships with act as mirrors to us to enable us to see ourselves better.
Well, I just wrote something actually, so I'll share that with you. I just actually wrote something. You must have been in the field with me as I was writing this evening. And I'm going to read it because I'm not that good at keeping memory. And I was going to send it to you, maybe for you to read it, but then you wouldn't be able to read my writing. As you know, you've tried to do that before. Yes, and my grammar is not great, and Jack is a stittle for grammar. So I just wrote it here, Jack. Sorry, everybody, just patiently be with me here. I was set up perfectly, and then Jack made me move. Always blame it on the man, never the woman.
Well, while you're doing that, while you're looking for that, I'm just going to tell a little story of my own, which relates to the cold sore story that you told at the beginning.
Okay, yeah.
It's a bit personal, but I don't mind sharing it. many years ago, and this isn't anything recent, this is many, many years ago, I was in a very difficult relationship with a lady. Imagine our surprise. And she'd already thrown me out, and she'd started seeing somebody else. But we never quite managed to break up, not for a couple of years. I was her Wednesday man to the tune of Yesterday's Man. Boom, 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 I'm her Wednesday man, boom, boom. And that went on for a year or two. Anyway, I was at work one day, and she just started seeing this guy. And I had this streaming nose, yeah?
Yeah.
Really, it just streamed and streamed and streamed. And I got 2 rolls of loo paper out of the toilets just to, because I didn't have any tissues. It came from nowhere. And I phoned her and I said, look, I'm not going to be able to make it tonight because I've got this streaming cold, as I thought it was. And in the conversation, it came around to the fact that she hadn't slept with Jerry yet. And my nose cleared up within half an hour. And I phoned her back and I said, my nose is cleared up, I'm coming to see you. Now, is that the same thing?
No.
I think it is. I delivered, my body, my subconscious produced the streaming nose to give me a way of not seeing her that night.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I don't know, Jack. I just know the cold sore. When people have cold sores, they're infectious. So people don't go near you or kiss you when you have a cold sore because you can catch it.
Yeah, but it's the same idea, isn't it? You've created this thing, your subconscious, your mind has created this thing, this physical manifestation, because you don't want to do something.
Yeah, okay. I don't know, actually. If it is, yeah, maybe it is. I don't know. I'm just going with the, it could be, yeah. I don't know. It was just the expression that lady gave me, that usually she was saying that you need time for yourself when you get a cold sore. So that's where Into Me I See came from. Yeah, that you actually needed time out, not to dry up to go and get your leg off. I'll give it a go and see if it happens.
Well, I needed a time out, although that wasn't part of our vocabulary 30 years ago. And I gave myself that streaming nose to give myself a time out.
Okay.
And then I suddenly I realized I learned something new, which told me that I no longer needed that time out.
Okay.
So the excuse went away.
Okay. Yeah. I suppose. Yeah.
And it went away just like that within minutes.
That'll be great for so many men to learn that one. Time out, you know, time in, dry up.
When I realized that, it propelled me a long way in my own development, realizing that.
Yeah.
Having had that experience.
Yeah.
So have you found that quote you were looking for?
I have. So it was about the relationship. So there is never a relationship with another. Only one with yourself that overflows into someone else. Each time this happens is when you truly see what it is you are accepting with yourself and what it is you are denying within yourself. Stepping into truth is the real deep, intimate journey. So it was all about coming back in. You may not always like what is shown. So this is what intimacy, Into Me I See. I was trying to build a relationship with everybody else to fill the voids. So opposites attract, to fill the voids that I had within me that I was unconscious of, because I work with the shadows, unconscious emotions and feelings that you're unconscious of, that you suppress. So it didn't matter how much work I was going to do until I built an intimate relationship with oneself and with the emotions and feelings that I was unconscious of. Any relationship that I would receive outside of me, they would be to supply and fulfill a void that I hadn't come into my awareness of. So that's how deep intimacy to me is. It's so, it makes you open your eyes to responsibility, accountability, acceptance. And when it stops you projecting with expectations of somebody else changing to fit what you're looking for. That's what intimacy is.
Okay, that's interesting.
Intimacy is such a huge vibration in so many aspects of our life, because at the beginning when I wrote that, just 10 minutes, I just sat and said, what is it I need to see? What is it I need to see? And you know, I work with that line, even when I'm sending virtual healing or something, I say to them, ask yourself, what is it in me I need to see? That's the intimacy. And then this came, there is never a relationship with another. Only one with yourself that overflows into someone else. Wow. Like, I was so excited to read that tonight.
That is brilliant.
You heard it first here.
Absolutely brilliant. But of course, that feeds into the concept that there is no out there.
Yeah, but I don't go into that because
Okay.
I'm still in the belief head that exists. So when I see a partner, I see a separation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I'm intimate with myself, I'm not any expectations from that person. See, when people are triggering with emotions and feelings that they're unconscious of, it feels very fucking real to them. And they're really holding on to them and trying to control them. So they try to bring somebody else in that might be able to help them control and fulfill them, okay? And I can totally understand that. Probably did that so many times in my life. But the true intimacy is actually stepping back into your seat. That gives you a seat where you can see in a relationship where, you know, you're looking for this companionship, but you've got expectations because you haven't dealt with your suppressed feelings and emotions. So that's not intimate. That's an expectation relationship.
Yeah.
And what I found now, that anything that I connect with, I sort of have an intimate connection with myself before it overflowing, so that I'm not taking from people and I'm not asking them to give me something. I'm checking in with myself first, taking accountability, checking this intimate connection with myself. And then I always ask myself, what is it in me I need to see just before I move into something? Because then I'm not laying conditions on what the expectations are that's going to bound us to trying to change each other to what we're trying to fulfill in our lives, if that makes sense. I know that's sort of like complicated, but it really isn't complicated when you can just use that one sentence. What is it in me I need to see? And build that intimate relationship. And as that grows, it overflows to be shared.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So I really love it. Look, I shake when I get an exciting one. I wanted to share that with people because the intimacy we see as a separate thing, but actually, if you aren't intimately connected with oneself, how can you expect that intimate connection with somebody else? It just can't manage. It'll always have, but only if they were like this, or only if they, yeah. So That's you're questioning, not them.
I think that's very true, Karen. Yeah, we do
Yeah.
tend to look to other people to
Yeah.
fill the empty bits in us, don't we? Which is what you're
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
rather than filling them for ourselves.
Yeah. 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 It's so true. And, you know, when you do find the word intimacy and break it down and learn to sit with it, when you meet anybody, you know, even if they don't like you or they're not comfortable, you've got so much compassion, but there's no attachment, you know, because that's you're actually so intimate with yourself that you're not expecting them to be something else. Do you know what I mean? So you're allowing them to sit wherever they are, and you actually come and kneel down with them and sit with them, because that's okay. You're not feeling that you're better than them or trying to save them. You're just being in that space. And a lot of people come to me and it's everybody else's fault, and I have to show them that actually there is no fault, but only what you choose to see. Let's get intimate and let's look in and see what we need to see, you know? So into me, what is it in me I need to see? Even when I'm doing people's cards to trigger their emotions so I can work on their shadows, I get them to close their eyes, bring in the 4 elements, the mental, the physical, the spiritual, and the emotional. And we invite the emotions. And I say to them, say to yourself, what is it in me I need to see? And I just get them to ask that. And as they're asking that, they're really starting to trust themselves, because it's something we don't ask. We ask somebody else to try and see what we're trying to see within ourselves. We ask them to say, oh, you look beautiful today. You look really nice. Oh, we sit in the fucking mirror now. This is the new hip thing. Instead of avoiding our emotions now and feeling that they're unacceptable, what we do now is say, be positive. So now we spiritually bypass and say that these unconscious emotions and feelings are negative. What the hell? We've actually gone arseways on ourselves and disguised it another way. But when you say, what is it in me I need to see? There's no escaping, because at the end I wrote, Jack, you may not always like what is shown. And I think that is, even get excited to be shown how shitty I can be sometimes. Because
That's when you've got to be brave, isn't it? And actually face up to your own shadow.
Yeah. So it's really, I'm just happy you allowed me to share this, because funny enough, people will say the words, but they never say to me, why do you do that? But I didn't have to go and do loads of courses then. Every time I stepped into that, I became my own teacher, because you have the knowledge, the wisdom, the emotions, the feelings. You have all them stories that can actually help you to grow. But we always ask somebody else to tell us what to do instead. And that's what we're told as children. We look up to our peers, but we forgot as adults, we actually need to go back in and talk to the peer that you are now and own it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, you know, and spiritually maturing in another level. And I can't really explain it, but I would love anybody that's listening tonight or watches this afterwards to actually give that a go. Do you know what I mean? To actually really sit and say, what is it in me I need to see? Into me I see, and just use that sentence to explore, and then let go with no expectations and let life show you what it is you need to see. Yeah.
I love the way when you do card readings that you ask people to ask themselves that question.
Yeah. Because it allows them, 1, to rest, 2, to connect, bringing in the 4 elements, because we always miss out the emotions. We say mind, body, soul, but emotions are real vibration in our bodies, and when you're unconscious of them, they're still playing. So we bring in the 4 elements, which allows them to connect with self. Yeah, because it's not about me, the reading. It's really about their interconnection with themselves, and then quietly allow it to vibrate in their body. What is it in me I need to see? And when they do that, I can feel their energy. It's like they're taking a deep breath, because they've never actually asked themselves that. They've never actually just stopped and asked that, asked themselves. They've read the books. They're using the word triggers. They're using the word as, mirror reflection, but they're actually not doing it. They're bypassing it, because to do it, you get away with nothing.
It's so easy, isn't it, to say he's done this or she's done that, instead of looking to what it means within you.
Integrate it rather than sticking it on your wall. Stick it inside of you. Allow it to grow, allow it to fight, because we're all individual, Jack, and we're so beautifully unique. But we have amazing little gifts that are unique too, right? Just like birds have different ways of communicating. All them birds in the sky tonight, but they knew each other by their different communications. They knew their partner, they knew their new babies, because but there's hundreds of them. And I was just watching how, because they're unique in their connection and connecting, and we're the same. But for some reason, we still, including myself, I catch myself out, look outside of us for something. And I think that's because we fear that whatever uniqueness turns out, that it might not be acceptable, because a lot of things were told to us. So we call it negative or going against the grain. So what we do then is join groups maybe that are rebellants, and we rebel. So we're doing the teenage thing now in an adult thing, instead of sitting there and saying, what is it in me that I need to see?
Some of us never grow up, do we?
So it's just a game, see, and it's a belief system that we keep playing. And it's not simple looking within, but it gets simpler if you don't attach to the story, but come with full acceptance. And that acceptance is magnificent, because do you know what you're doing? You find peace within yourself. You might find shit too, which is perfectly healthy, because we forget that SHIT fertilizes the land. If it hits the fan, it's going to spread out. If it's thrown in a lump, it's going to kill the grass. So we need it to spread out so that we can fertilize the feelings and emotions. And then we need to integrate them, because what you're doing then is not projecting them onto people then. You're actually fertilizing your power back. And it's not a power that stands over somebody and says, look how strong I am. It's a power that is so gentle that anyone wants to be in that space to be with you. So it's like a power of not knowing you have it, but you draw people to you that are really feeling safe to open up, And imagine that one little word that we class as separated is actually integrated. When integrated, there is no separation. It's an overflow from one to another. Yeah, not something from him to me, her to him, It's an overflow. It's quite romantic now, say that word. And before it was like, yeah, I got an intimate night last night, you know what I mean? But it isn't like that. It's really a romance, because you found that romance within oneself then, and it overflows.
I think the important thing is to take 100% responsibility for all the things that are happening in our own lives and not blame other people for them.
Yeah. But very hard to do that. Even myself, I still get triggered, because when you're unconscious of where it's coming from, the bridge isn't built between the conscious and awareness then. So when you're triggered, that's when you point outwardly. When you're triggered, what happens then? Your persona and your awareness disappear just for that split moment. You feck them off, project it, whatever you need to do in that moment. It isn't until the body calms down, the emotions have been pushed down, that you become aware again. And then usually afterwards you go, God, why did I say that? Or, you know, why did I? And then afterwards you start feeling guilty. That's when you know you've been triggered. So in that point, then I would go back in and say, okay, let's have another pull at that one and say, what is it in me I need but I could have projected it already, Jack. I could have opened my mouth and projected.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, instead of self-sabotaging, that's something I'd like to share too. Instead of self-sabotaging and beating yourself up, ask yourself, what is it in me I need to see? Now, it doesn't mean that people's rudeness is acceptable, but it can only hurt you if you take it personal. So then you trigger, yeah? So if someone's rudeness is rudeness, you can say, you know, you don't have to speak to me like that, or whatever situation, you have to be in the situation. But the truth is, if you're still thinking about that the next day and the next day, then you've actually attached to it personally. And there's something pulling at you. That's the time to get in, to not deny it or point it out, but to get in and have a look why that's pulling, why that's still replaying, because then you'll project it onto someone you care for. Or
I did a show a few months ago about triggers, where I said that when a trigger comes up, it's an opportunity to deal with that issue,
yeah,
to face it and deal with it. It's coming up for a reason.
yeah,
So thank the person that's triggered you,
yeah,
for helping to bring that up to your awareness so you can deal with it.
yeah, yeah. So I would totally agree that, but if you don't know that you're triggered, you can't go into that awareness. We can all
No.
talk about it, but you have to be aware what a trigger is for your body. So your
Yeah.
emotions and feelings would be different to mine, even though we call them the same. How they react in our body would be different because of the way you were brought up and the way I were brought up, and how I attached my feelings to my story and you to yours. So it's really getting intimate with yourself to understand, Jack. So I do believe that triggers can serve you when you're aware what a trigger is and within yourself. But you have to get intimate within yourself to know when someone's pulling the plugs in you, yeah? But also triggers are denied and bypassed because we see it as a negative thing now. We've actually made them more unacceptable, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So when we were growing up, this is the pattern I've just seen in the last 8 years of my study when I was working. What we've done now is become, we must be positive. So now if you're not positive, you feel guilty because you're not doing what everybody else is doing. So when everyone was doing love and light and positivity, I was actually digging up the biggest holes and burying myself in them, covering myself and waiting to blossom again. And in that, I learned that spiritual bypassing or bypassing is the most dangerous thing you can do to yourself, because now you're living in a new persona and a new denial. And when doing that, you've convinced yourself you're a good person, you're a happy person, you're a kind person, but you only see the other side is when you're triggered, but you're so in denial that you can't see it. So when you're saying something, then you're hurting someone, but you can't see it because you've told yourself, no, I'm a really good person. I'm really, if you have to say that, then really, who are you lying to? In the sense of, do you understand? So what we've done now is looked at triggers and unconscious emotions and feelings as negativity. So if someone's having an emotional day and is feeling a bit crap, they have to put their persona on, then walk out the door, and they can't be intimate with themselves because it's negative. And they go, how are you? I'm great. And how are you? And if you were to say I'm shit, nobody wants to hear it anyhow. So really, that's where I really wanted to share. I know when we did the shadow work, it's very deep work, but intimacy is a way of going even that one step deeper when you're aware, and then going in, and then I really want to share this. And I only got this a few days, and this is brand new. I'm sharing this with everybody. So when you shared there that you have to thank the other person for triggering you, okay? Because you're going to learn and integrate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I learned that actually it's you've got to thank. It's you that you've got to forgive, and it's you that you've got to love right in that very moment. Do you know why? We're hearing so much, you must forgive. But the one that self-sabotages is you. When it happens, we go home, and what we try and do is make ourselves feel better by saying, thank you for doing that to me. Yeah. But what about saying, thank you for showing me that?
Absolutely. Yes.
For showing me and allowing me to feel that. I didn't recognize that before. It's nothing to do with that person. This is a personal response within your body. And instead of going in, oh God, you know, I'm so happy I met them. No, you're actually not. That's a lie. You're not, because they've just pissed you off. Let's be honest. Let's say, I am so sorry I haven't seen that before. And I'm so happy you're allowing me to see it now. And I know it sounds like it's so soft and gentle. Why not? Because the child only wanted someone to say, I'm so sorry for telling you to shut up. But you're the adult now. You're the peer. You're the one. So when that feeling comes up, don't bypass it by saying, I'm so happy they triggered me. Or I forgive them. No. Ask yourself, what is it in me I need to see? And usually it's you saying, will you please just hold me and listen to me? I just want to show you this at this moment. That's the moment. And I only learnt that a few weeks ago. I was driving up the motorway. Someone had called me and I got this tug in my stomach. And I realized that, bugger them, it was me that had gone into guilt. It was me that started pulling myself apart. It was me that self-sabotaged. Instead of bypassing it, I embraced it, accepted it, and said, what more do I need to see? Show me. I'm listening. I'm listening, Karen. I'm listening. Come on. And I really embraced that moment. And I just kept saying to her, you are so brave to actually embrace this moment with me and allow me to share it with you. You are such a strong warrior.
That's incredible, Karen. That's brilliant. That's beautiful.
That's intimacy.
Yeah.
That is a complete, we're told to forgive everyone. Come in. You're the one that is playing the games, overthinking, self-sabotaging, apologizing to everyone else.
Yeah.
But to yourself. And I'm so happy you let me share that, Jack. I'm actually quite emotional because it.
Yeah, well, I'm very glad that you have come on and shared it, because it's an important message that people need to hear.
Yeah.
I've actually learned a lot this last year or two working with you.
Yeah.
The things you've taught me, such as when I have a challenging emotion, to sit with it and not give it a name or a story.
Yeah.
But just sit with it. That's something you taught me.
Yeah. But now you can reverse it and love it. Instead of saying it's negative, unacceptable, that's all parts of you that we're saying that to.
Yeah.
But I've only learned that in the last few weeks, that I actually embraced that moment, and I just was so in the moment of the intimate moment with myself. I didn't know it existed, because people speak of it, but they don't really speak of it.
Karen, your eyesight's better than mine. Can you read out the comments?
Yeah, Dion said, so beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. She just said, so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is beautiful, Karen, because I really think everyone needs to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you've made this, you've done it on this show so we can put it out to the world.
Yeah. Well, thank you for giving me the seat now, I've got to say. But I actually didn't know I was going to share that bit with you. I knew that I was going to share the bit of intimacy, but it just comes with it, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
And, you know, it's like when I first started sitting with Brother Brian, this is so funny. And he'd say, when you go to bed, you know, just pray for everyone's health. And I wasn't raised with prayers, right? So I go to bed and I feel so guilty in the morning because I fell asleep. I've got half of the people that I was meant to pray for. And I wake up feeling guilty. And I'd said to Brian, God, Brian, how do you? He said, no, Karen, all's one. He said, just pray for yourself to be in the moment and pray. And I was sitting there, pray for my daughter, I pray for Minette, and pray for. And then I'd run out and I'd fall asleep praying and wake up and go, oh, who did I forget? Yeah.
Don't ever feel guilty for playing your part, even if you don't understand that part. You're part of a great symphony, and you may not understand every aspect of it, every nuance of it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the fact that you're part of this beautiful symphony.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're enriching other people's lives by the way you live yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never feel guilty for anything.
Yeah. No, this is when I first started a few years.
I know.
Yeah. And I was doing all this. But now when people say, could you send me healing? I do this. This is a great way. I say, of course I can. And I say my prayer. I say one prayer, which I don't have to say. And then I say, what is it in me I need to see? Now we're one. There is no we. Get it? That split moment when I say, what is it in me I need to see? Then there's no person sick and no person healthy. There's just that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really good. That's wonderful. You've got a course coming up, yeah?
I have. It's like a course, but it's. I don't think I'm going to call it a course because there's no certificate. But I've called it. It's coming up very soon. I'm not going to get too much, but I will share with you each week that we can have teasers coming up. But I've called it. I only thought of it the other day. Wait a minute. And it's really good. And what it is sharing different steps of aspects of your journey, of yours. It's all about you. That's what it's called. It's all about you, and making sense of it. And then there's questions that you can ask yourself and actually do the work yourself and really grow in your own seat and connect with oneself, and with no judgment, because you don't have to have a certificate at the end of it. It's at your own pace, and there's videos to assist. I'm putting it all together now. And I've just been guided to really put this together, which you've read some of it, Jack. And
I have, yeah.
It is deep work, but it makes sense. So I'm quite a deep person, but I broke it back to the beginning. So in the beginning was the word. So I've gone right back to the word, like intimacy, gone right back to the beginning. And it will assist people in building their own bridge, in learning about themselves in a deeper level, which will give them a broader consciousness and awareness within their lives. It's such a powerful teaching. Can't wait for the course to be shared. Yeah.
Yeah. There's another comment. Can you read it out?
Yeah, it's a powerful teaching. Can't wait for the course to be shared. Yeah.
So how long do you think we'll have to wait?
I'm hoping the second week of October. I'm
Okay.
just wrapping it up now and doing some little talk videos like this so that it's like you have me there with you to assist you through your step by step. And there's loads of tips and tricks.
Yeah.
A few odd tricks in there.
So when it's ready, Karen, let me have a link and I'll add it to, I'll go back and add it to the description of this video on YouTube.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
This video will be up forever. It won't, it's not just for tonight. All the videos that we record, they go up to YouTube afterwards.
Brilliant. And I can share that on my page then. Yeah.
Yeah. So as soon as we've got that, and if people want to work with you in the meantime, how do they get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me through my Facebook, Karen Binks, or Seeker of Truth. And then my Instagram is KeyTooMe. So maybe you'll pop them up for me as well, will you?
I'll put all the links in the description on the video version of this
Brilliant.
of this recording.
I've got a question for you, Jack.
Go on.
So since it's intimacy, when you ask yourself now after just speaking, so imagine we've just had this conversation, which we have, but now I'm going to ask you to ask yourself, what is it in me I need to see? And see what opens up for you. And just keep asking it, and then all of a sudden,
Nothing's coming up.
okay.
Nothing's coming up. Nothing new anyway. I mean, I know I've got to work
How
with...
you're feeling now, I mean, just what you're feeling now after learning what intimacy is and how that feels now, and being kinder to you. And, you know, I wouldn't actually do deep work on you, trigger everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I expect something would come to me after the show. Nothing's coming up at the moment.
Okay.
Apart from the way I have a habit of working against myself, but that's nothing new. I've been working with that for a long time.
Okay. So being kinder to yourself and using that sentence and not being as hard on yourself. And men actually do have that tendency to be a lot harder on themselves because of generations saying you have to, and you're the provider, and there's an expectation, and they're not allowed to really express their emotions neither, which, you know, a lot of men that I mentor would find that really hard, that, you know, they're in business, but they're not allowed to. The vulnerability is like a swear word to them. It's a weakness. And when I teach them what vulnerability is, they realize that they find deep awareness in that. You know, so they would teach me too, mentor me as well, in the same energy of not being too far up in the clouds with my head, but being very grounded, because they're very business, you know what I mean? They can, so that's where we work so in harmony, but men would be very hard on themselves. Yeah.
There are certain feelings which, although I'm honest to myself about,
yeah,
I would never mention to anybody else.
Yeah.
I keep them to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that changing anytime soon, because not
Especially because
everybody.
you're working with something. Don't get me wrong, when you work on something deep, you don't have to go and share it with the world. It's about being compassionate and intimate with oneself, and not hard, and you know, looking outside again for something to fulfill it, or just be true to you. That is self-discovery. Like people say, to find authentic self. When I looked up authentic the other day,
If you muted yourself, Karen, you've gone silent.
sorry, someone was trying to ring there. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So, you know, a lot of people talk about different dimensions and going, but I am here to experience being human in this energy. And in that, the intimate connection of that is like the authenticity means truth. To be true. But to be true to who? To get up every day and be truthful to myself with no judgment and accept warts and all is as authentic as I can be, because then I can be authentic with other people. Because who can throw stones when you actually can see what's going on within you?
Well, I can be 100% authentic with myself, and 99% authentic with the world, but there are certain things that other people aren't ready to hear.
Yeah.
So I keep those things to myself.
Yeah. That's your journey, see, that's your discovery. Yeah.
So maybe I'm not quite as together as I like to make out. So maybe I'm not quite as authentic as I like to make out. But that's not because of anything inside me. That's because of the people in my life who I know aren't ready for all of my truth, and who have told me so, and who get triggered by my truth. So I just don't tell them anymore. Is that being inauthentic? I don't know.
Do they need to know your truth?
No.
Sometimes I find, oh, I can't see that message. Where did that go? Where did the messages go?
If you click on chat, you'll find all the messages.
On chat.
On chat at the bottom here. Actually, if you're on a mobile phone, you probably need to scroll to the right to get it.
Okay.
I don't know. There's 3 dots on the right-hand side at the bottom of your screen. If you click on that.
I found them. Wait a minute. Chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm very technical now. I hope I can get back out of this. Oh, so it's Dion. Sometimes I find truths are not the same to others. Yes. And that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we all have our own truths. Whatever you believe, so it is for you.
Yes. So that's powerful. Yeah. Thanks, Dion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone would like to ask a question, they can. And look at the big smile, and a big smile she's given us. Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody wants to ask a question, anyone who's on here live, you can either unmute yourselves and ask, or you can put it in the chat box, whichever you prefer.
Yeah. Or even if people are watching this on replay, they're more than welcome to text Jack, and we can follow on with that.
Well, I'll put Karen's, if I may, I'll put Karen's email address in the description.
Yeah.
And then you can contact Karen directly and ask her your questions.
Oh, sorry, there's a chat thing again. Wait a minute, I have to work this. Get some glasses, Jack.
Sorry?
Get some glasses so you could do this, but I'm not good at the computers. Here, I found it. Back to chat. How
I
do
think
you control not oversharing your truths? Sometimes we feel the need to share our own opinions, and it might not be needed, if that makes sense. It absolutely does. Usually, Dion, we overshare because we've actually silently been triggered, okay? And when we're silently triggered, you've actually created a new story in your head. You've switched off from then, and then you open up and overshare, and you're coming from a trigger within, and then you're oversharing. Do you know what I mean? So if you think about it, Dion, have a look at this, so that when you're talking to somebody and they're chatting away, sometimes you're not hearing. You switch off to hear what they're saying, and you actually go into your own mind. In your mind, it's like a child going, guess what? Guess what? Tell her this, tell her this. And your head's going like that, but you don't know it's going like that. And as soon as they're finished, you say, yeah, but what, this happened to me, or what about this, or what, do you know what I mean? Instead of just allowing a moment of space before speaking. Because sometimes then when you give a space before speaking, I feel like I share my opinions sometimes and it's not needed because, this chat, sorry everybody, just working this chat out. Can anyone else read it? Oh, that, oh, I got it. 1 minute.
feel free to unmute yourselves if you want to ask
Yeah.
questions, if that's
I
easier,
feel like
everybody.
share my opinion sometimes when it's not needed, because it gives me a sense of satisfaction or a fit in feeling. Yeah. I think we all do that, actually, Dion. But just ask yourself afterwards how you feel, that connection. What is it in me? Do you know what I mean? I need to see, because that's really important. Like if you're sharing a two-way conversation, like Jack and I do, and sometimes they get a bit heated, Jack and I, but it's really,
Yeah, you do sometimes, yeah.
yeah, but it's really shared. Do you know what I mean? It's not a personal sort of opinion. We sort of come to a mutual acceptance, and we don't feel crap when we walk away from each other. So there's acceptance in both sides there. But sometimes if you're feeling a bit crap afterwards, using that word, Dion, then maybe you have been pulled inside and you've overloaded and offloaded. And sometimes to fit in, you just have to not say anything, and just be the listener and the watcher. But we feel that we have to be noticed to fit in. But sometimes you don't have to be the one that speaks, but just be present. It takes fucking years. You know me, I speak for England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and Germany, and bring out all the countries. I can speak for everybody. But I do know when I'm having a conversation with someone, I've learned how to pause before answering, because sometimes it could be me just. So it's a defense mechanism. It is, yeah, sometimes, or a sense of wanting to belong and accepted, Dion. So ask yourself that afterwards, sit with yourself, be with yourself, and ask yourself, if you're not feeling good afterwards, or you're feeling guilty, or I shouldn't have said that, sit with it. What is it in me I need to see? Ask yourself. Don't go into the game of guilt. Just ask yourself. Believe it or not, you're the key. You're the key to the answer.
Of course, people don't have to agree on everything to be friends. You can respect each other's opinions.
Absolutely. And not invade each other's space in it, Yeah. And that's really
things
powerful.
I disagree on. It doesn't stop us being friends.
Yeah. So that's it. That was really interesting tonight.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up? Or there's another comment there.
Yeah, I love this chat. It was amazing. Thanks, Dion.
Thanks, Dion. Yeah. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I don't want to water down what we shared tonight. So I think that's perfect.
Beautiful. So
It's
I will
a lot
put
to absorb. Yeah. So perfect.
I'll put all Karen's links down below in the description. Feel free to contact Karen if you want to work with her, or if you just want to ask any questions that have arisen out of today's talk that weren't covered.
And if you do, sorry, Jack, if anyone does want to email me just a private thing, do that. You know, don't feel that you can't. If there's a question you want to ask on this or about yourself, please do feel free. Yeah. Thank you so much for your insight. Thank you for coming on, Kenneth.
There's another comment, Karen?
Yeah, it's Kenneth saying thank you very much for your insight.
Great.
Yeah, thank you, Kenneth, for joining us.
Thank everybody who's here tonight and everybody who watches the replay on YouTube later. Please do like and share, because it helps us to get the message out to more people. Just a little bit of housekeeping. I do a show every Monday called Love Not Fear at the same time, 6:30. And we record all my shows on Zoom jack.uk, and they all go up to YouTube afterwards. So feel free to join us for any of those. These Friday shows, Co-Creating the New Earth Together, I interview interesting people like Karen, who's graced us with her presence twice now. So thank you very much. So anybody who wants to come on the show, if you're making a difference in the world, or just locally or nationally or whatever level, if you're doing anything that you think other people might be inspired by, then please do contact me personally. I'll put my contact details below as well, and we'll get you on the show.
Yeah.
So that's a wrap for tonight. Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye, Kenneth. Bye, Dion. Sending love to you, Jack, and thank you for having me.
And to you, Karen.
God bless everybody. God bless. I don't know how to switch it off now.